So today the plan was to buy a bunch of bricks and work on this patio. Well, it's raining, so I held off on the bricks, but I am still working on the patio in the rain. But it is coming down really hard, so I'm not sure how much longer I'll be out here. However, we got to get these pine needles off so that the concrete will have a place to go. We don't want any of them sticking up. These pine trees up here shed like crazy. So what I'll do is I'll take the concrete and I'll just literally bring the bags out here, dump them, and it will fill in the cracks. We have to get these empty. Now, sometimes I just bend down and pick up and throw it, but it's pouring rain. Even some of these we can bury if they're deep enough. But that's why I need to get the concrete on here so it won't catch these. Once it catches them, it's a nightmare. So now it's time to get the concrete out. It's nice, even with the smaller car, you can still get yourself some concrete. So we're gonna carry that over and dump it in place. Okay, so these are 80-pound bags, which I'm not used to. Whew, merciful heavens, thing's heavy. Got the high strength. I don't want this breaking apart. I find this extremely satisfying. You just take your shovel, gently, patiently scrape this in, fill the gaps. Kind of put things in place as need be. Hello, friend. Yeah, I know it's raining. But see, the water, especially since it's raining, it's really nice. It actually fills it in. I'm not worried about every stone being perfectly shown. I'm okay if there's some concrete kind of takes over. I will spray this and get most of it off the stones, but basically I want it to be level. And I'm gonna come back and paint each stone with light dry brush and stain, concrete stain, give them some color. Like pull out some of the orange from the cabin, dry brush it into these, and the reds from the bricks. Kind of a blend between the two. But basically, I just want it to be nice and level. And then you can dry brush the white mortar, which is what I'm gonna do. The mortar is gonna be white in between. Get that piece of paper out. See how satisfying that is? I'm just gonna let the rain kind of fall on it for a little bit. I'm gonna get the other bags out, do the same thing. And then I'm gonna take the hose, give it a very light spray, and it will harden nicely. So the next bag can go right here. This corner has needed to be solidified for a while, because these stones really get moved if you step on them. Yeah, we don't want that. The rain's actually nice, and the water, because it shows me where there's puddles. We could fill that in a little bit. We don't want gaps for people to trip on. Now I'm just gonna kind of wet down all the concrete very gently. don't want to spray it because it'll wash away, but you see how some of the blocks start emerging. Now, you do want to get rid of most of it off the blocks, but like I said, I'm okay if some of it is solid. It kind of going to create that uneven texture. Obviously, you don't want those loose rocks on it. And I think last time I did this, which to center, and that enabled me to be more pinpoint. See, I can gently clean the rocks off, but it's still pretty powerful. So you gotta be careful not to, again, I'm just learning this technique as I go. It just made sense to me because there's gravel underneath of this. As long as your stones are relatively level. Now, some people would say, I want mine perfectly level, and I respect that. I do. I thought about doing that, but then I thought, well, it's like cobblestone, rustic, like a German village in Columbus kind of thing, kind of like an old town. So I didn't mind it too much, as long as it's not uneven too much. You see, I do want to kind of build that concrete up in the corners there, so it doesn't fill in with pine cones. I don't mind spraying it towards the middle because the middle needs some filling in. If it didn't, I would spray it on towards the outward. Now this is just going to need another couple bags over here. That's fine. I used up my 4 bags. I only got 4 bags because it's raining today. Just sometimes I just like to dabble. I don't want to kill myself. I don't do that financially or physically. I have other things to do, you know. So I'm halfway through, and part of these videos I want to be honest about mistakes. The first concrete that I used did not have rocks in it. It was mortar. And I had forgotten that. So, so I've got little rocks everywhere in this batch. One thing I can do is like, just kind of smooth it out as best I can. And I'm not even sure like it's a problem. But I can come back with mortar on top as like a slight smoothing. But it is something I noticed. And it does take a long time of patience to do this. Like, I've been out here now 20 minutes and I just moved 5 feet because you just got to work it so soft or it's going to wash it all away. You can kind of see how the rain is puddling in some spots. It's kind of cool because it shows you the low spots, obviously. But down there, I mean, I just need to get down there and smooth that out. But you want to make sure most of the stones are showing. I want at least, I'd say, maybe 85% of the stones showing. And some of the spots could be predominantly white for several inches here and there with the white mortar. And the white mortar is going to look beautiful. It's going to tie into like the white on the deck, the white on the trim. I think it's important that it all ties together. And it's going to bring it to life. It's going to be like gorgeous once I paint it. Get those concrete stains, get some, what I like to do, I like to get some oranges, some reds, like in these bricks, and then even some turquoise. Just kind of like dry brush a little turquoise just to give it some real contrast. Turquoise and orange are opposites. Just makes it look rich. And then you might have to go over it with a little bit of black, just a little bit. That'll beef up, punch out these stones in a beautiful way. All right, I sprayed it all. I leveled it as much as I possibly could. Now, it still is not finished for sure. Probably 2 more bags over there. Probably another bag of mortar there. And then more stones over there. So this here is flowing down, and this is a double drain. You get the drain above and the drain below. You could see it's coming out down below. That's from the water that's coming from the pond, as well as the water that's seeking in the ground. However, I noticed it was still flowing on top of the ground pretty quickly. So it didn't have time to absorb, and I needed a runoff. So I built this little gully. Actually, it kind of built itself, and I just kind of looked where it went naturally. So I'll fill this with stone, big stone, and then I'll continue this border around like this. Boom. And then that's when I do the border like this. So all this will be concrete and brick. That's what I was going to work on today, but it started raining and I didn't want to be out here in the rain all day, but I figured I'd dabble, which I'm glad I did. As you see it, I got a lot done. It actually looks pretty beautiful. I'm pretty satisfied with it. It gives me the feel of the Polynesian. Not yet. It's under construction, obviously. But just kind of like these curves. I studied a lot of the artwork on the walls of the Polynesian, and they had a lot of curves. They had a lot of that kind of thing, which makes it really fun. You got to make sure your curves jive with the other side, though. Like, you can get some really bad curves. Like, you don't want it to be too pointy or too flat. I feel like this is a nice compromise. All this here will be filled in with rocks, those white rocks over there. So it's going to look really tropical. So imagine, if you will, hey guy, I mean lady, imagine, if you will, you come out here, you're walking up, you see this starkness of this orange and this white, which is really cool. Now that's not been stained, so that will be more orange, and I'm going to give that all a fresh coat. But you have this white, then you have white mortar all through these cracks, all throughout the rocks. And then I dry brush those rocks, as I've said before earlier in the video, with some of that orange, some of the red, a little bit of turquoise, just really beef up those rocks and stones. White mortar, and then you have white rocks in the bed over there. White rocks in the bed over there. And the white rocks look like these. I bought some bags. They're actually very big and very smooth. I like those. And I don't just dump them, I put them strategically in place. That's a pretty one there. So these need some time to, put all those in place. So you'll have white mortar, white bed of rocks, white deck. So it'll all go together nicely. Then what I'm going to do here, this is going to be, I'm going to dig out some of this rock and be a slow rise, okay, of brick. So I don't want to have a step there. I don't want people to trip. It'll elevate up to where the brick's all on the driveway. The whole thing is going to be bricked in the same style as this. It just won't be stones, it'll be brick. So you'll pull in, it'll be a brick driveway, which will be red with this red top here. So it's all going to tie together. If you look over, everything has that red theme. Take one more look. Just imagine you haven't seen this, and you walk up and you're like, oh, I think these sides need to be higher for sure. At least two or three higher, maybe 4. I want that to be really deep, really raised up. But it gives a nice look to it. Pretty pleased with it. Some gaps here to fill in, but yeah, just imagine this. Finishing off that, rounding out there. This one will curve here. So it's like you have that curve flattens out, and then this curve gets extreme. So it's kind of like a repeating shape, like curve and then curve. Okay, my feet are soaked, so I'm done outside for the day. And I'm going to go ahead and just get up here and see if I can seal up that roof, because that is where flies are getting in. And when I say flies, I mean there was a bunch of flies this last fall. So all this needs to be sealed. And I buy this stuff here. I love this stuff. Don't get it on your fingers. It's nasty. It will not get off your fingers. Great stuff. And it doesn't take a ton because it expands like crazy. But what's cool is you can cut it off. You can see there, I already put some up there, just playing around. But I'm going to get up here and try this. All right, we're up here, and here we go. It's going to be satisfying because so many flies and bugs are up here, and I don't want to, be spending the night here unless this thing's sealed up. You got to be careful because this stuff will drop down on you. I'm not sure how to do this over my head. See? It just fell on my chair, and that's nasty stuff to get off. Okay, how about if we do this? Just kind of slow build it up in there. But I think the temperature is causing this to not want to come out as good. It might not be a good day for this. Might need to be warmer. See how I'm just like kind of touching the roof with it. This is going to expand so much, but it also can fall, as you saw. Yeah, I think the temperature is making it not want to come out of the can. So this will be the only one I do today, probably. But at least I'll get that corner done. We don't want ticks coming in. We don't want bugs coming in. I mean, none's gonna come in right there. It's mostly up here. So I just pretty much learned it's probably not good to use these when it's a cool day out. So I'm just gonna finish off this can somewhere else and then start putting insulation up. All right, I was able to use that can. At least if you hold it upside down, it actually works better, even though it's colder, but it still wasn't great. But at least I got the use out of it. Got this all sealed up. Now, what I'm thinking actually is something different. I think that's gonna take so much foam to fill all that up, and it's gonna fall and get on everything. I see there's these flat ridges that they already have built in. I think I'm gonna build a big, long faux beam on that, seal it up, and that's how I think I'll put the insulation up and then build the faux beam. So that way no cold air gets in the top and bugs won't get in, and then I'll seal around the faux beam. Instead of wasting all my money, because these are expensive. These are at least $5-6 each. See, it's just messy. It's gonna fall out. I may also take insulation and stuff it up in there before I do it, but big long beam, I think will be really nice. Now I'm gonna hang some insulation. I was trying this before. These are for paper on the roof that you put down before you put shingles on. I was trying these, but look how long that is. They did not want to go in. They kept bending. So I bought these, which are also roofing nails. They got a flat head on them, which would be nice. That'll hold the insulation, and they're short. And that way it won't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. You're not trying to go deep into the wood. You're just trying to tack this on. Okay, so I went ahead and just started some of these because I got to hold the camera. Perfect. Works perfect. See these guys? That's what I tried before, and look how they bent. See, watch, we'll try this. I bet you it'll bend. Oh, you're gonna make a liar out of me? Uh-huh, sure. Okay, whatever. There, that one's bending. Those work great. You want R13 on the walls. that's fine. But you got to have R30 on the ceiling. I'm going to pretend this is a wall. However, up here, it's going to get a lot of wind. I may go with R30 on this. R30 is more expensive than R13, obviously, because it's more dense. But I do feel like up here is going to get really toasty. Especially you get that fire stove going down there. You can see it. Yeah, all the heat's going to come up here. Probably have to crack these windows. So the technique for this is, you see this paper, it's got like this lip on it. It comes rolled up like that. And you pull this open. This fits snugly in between the 2x4s. And then your nail goes like so. And it holds it on. So these are holding it on nice. Put some more in there. And I'm going to finish this bad boy up. All right. We got 2 strips up. That's what it looks like, man. That'll keep this place toasty. We'll keep moving them around. But I want to give some consideration to this wiring because I know there's a light right there. I might not worry about the wiring. I was going to maybe plug in some hard lights, but we have a plug there. And with that plug there, we'll be able to put some lamps in here. Let's see if we've got one here, if that just goes downstairs. Oh, we got one here too. So we got 4 outlets. You literally could run 4 lights off of those 2, but you wouldn't want to because you want to have a space for charging your phone and stuff like that. But so super excited. Those nails work perfect. So what I recommend, based on my limited knowledge, is some roofing nails for the insulation. Work just fine. I would say, you know, I like my idea that these were shorter because you don't have to hammer them as far. However, I drop things a lot just because I've got bigger fingers, and it's like, because it's so short, it's kind of hard to hold on to. So it was kind of pinching me as I was nailing it. So you might, you know, if you got bigger hands, you might want to get some a little bit longer. These ones are 7/8, which is pretty short, not even an inch. Probably an inch would be good if I had it to do over. So we'll keep working on the sides, that side and then that side, and then probably take the rest of this downstairs and get some R30 for the sides. Even though that's a side, it is technically a roof. I'm going to treat it as though that's a roof and that angle's a roof. Then I'm going to start thinking about building this out. I think I'm going to make the beam come down, drop down. So it'll have like a box, and that. But I am going to stuff some insulation up in there. So that'll help with bugs and so on and so forth. But that's it for today. I've got a prior engagement. Take one last look at our handiwork today. Feeling pretty satisfied, but more needs to be done next time. All right, guys, I'm heading out. You hold down the fort. What do you say? Can you hold it down? You guys got a relaxing day on these these rockers? Yeah, don't you? Look at you. You guys are all snugly together. You guys are best buddies. And we named them Banja for banjo, Monica for harmonica, and Kazoo